Hello, friends of the internet. You are wanting many things, and we love manifestations. Or why do we come to be physical if not for manifestations? It's so fun for everything to manifest right in front of your eyes and to be like, you know what, I did that. It didn't come from my effort. It didn't come from the other way that, the way that humans have been taught to think, which is I banged it into place. Oh, I worked hard for that. No, it just came and magically appeared in front of me. But it didn't magically appear in front of me. I use the power of universal energy. I use the power of my mind to make it come to me. And we love that here. We love manifestation. We love everything coming so easily. And what's even more interesting is realizing that everything that you want is inevitable because you're the stream that is taking you, the stream of well-being. You're the one who created that stream because of all your desires. So that stream is built out of every single desire that you ever wanted. And how amazing is that? How amazing is it to want something and then realize that, you know what, it's gonna come to me. It's finished. It's completed in its vibrational form, and now it's gonna make its way out of the physical, out into the physical world. Like that's amazing. And so what is that thing? Why do your manifestations ever slow down? Why is there a lag time? Because there shouldn't really be a lag time, because it's so interesting from our perspective, from the non-physical perspective, because we know that the second you want it, it's already ready. And all you have to do is make your way towards it. All you have to do is begin to see it as it is, not as it is right now in this moment, as it truly is. It truly is in this vibrational world. So because we know if the path is laid out, and if you can keep the bead on what you want and not what you don't want, but what you want, then you have to get inspired action. The idea has to come into your mind, and you get taken right there. And we're like, that's just how it works. You're supposed to get inspired action. Your desires are not supposed to take very long. They're supposed to be actually relatively really quick. And we say it's relative because it feels instant. You should be having an instant manifestation, and if you're not, it's because you're doing this one thing, which is you're slowing the resistance down. You're slowing the manifestations down. You're slowing the stream down because you're not catching up with it. And what's the thing that you do what's the thing that you do? Well, we'll see it better. The thing that you do that is slowing everything down is best noticed by you when you have negative emotion. It's when you have negative emotion present that you're doing nothing that's slowing, your soul flow down. And that's why your flow is being slowed down, because you have negative emotion. How amazing is that? How amazing is it to have this guidance system? So we're going to talk about the physics of it all, because imagine like you're having this experience. Imagine like, you go to your bank account right now and you're like, oh, I don't have any money right now. You see, like, since you are source energy, right? We're gonna get back to the example, but you know how since you are source energy, you have 2 point of attractions. And so you have 1 point of attraction, and then your inner being, your source self, your universal self your inner being has that other point of attraction. And so your emotions are really about this relationship between how the 2 perspectives jive together. And that perspective of your inner being is so much more older and wiser, and has so much more momentum. And then you're over here, and your momentum is, you don't like it's puny, but your power lies in your ability to connect with source. And then you and source can share the same thought. You and source what source thinks about, what source knows, can come into your mind, transfer into your mind. And that's what inspired action is, because the way that it transfers, it comes in the form of an idea or of an impulse, right? And so this is all really theoretical. So let's get into the nitty gritty, because we love nitty gritty here. We love fine tuning. So you look at your bank account, right? And you don't have any money, and you're like, damn, I don't have any money. So you and your inner being are not, at that moment when you're like, you don't have any money, your inner being is not departing with you yet. Your inner being is still with you, because your inner being is seeing the same. You and your inner being are matched, because your inner being is like, true, you don't have any money. And obviously your inner being knows that down the line you could get more money. Your inner being becomes a match to money right away. So it's not like it's saying we don't see money either, because this is the thing that you do, right? So the human logic is, and it's really dumb, because what you do is you just want to explain why you're here. Oh, I don't have any money in my bank account. And then you continue on, you dig your hole. You're like, oh, I don't have any money in my bank account right now. And then you come to the conclusion, you investigate. You're like, oh, because everything really means everything. Everything is so fast, and everything is really so deep, and everything truly matters. Every thought really matters. So you're like, I don't have any, there's no money in my bank account. And then you come to the conclusion, you try to investigate, you try to analyze it. You try to be like how you were taught in school, which is you have to get to the bottom of it. You have to get to the bottom of it, because when you get to the bottom of it, you're not bound to repeat it. When you get to the root of it, it leaves you alone. But in this vibrational world, it doesn't like that. So you do that, you get to the motive of it. So you're like, oh, I don't have any money in my bank account right now. I don't see it. That must mean I'm never gonna get money. That must mean money doesn't come easy to me because I've been trying to do everything. And you see how like and that's when you really start to, the alarm bells start to ring because your inner being is like, whoa, that's where we depart. You just left the chat, and that's where negative emotion is felt by you. That's where the physics start to come into play because the momentum is being built, because you're concluding things. And you know what's funny? You do that all the day, every day, and that's a human logic thing, which is you need to own up to everything you did. You need to be held accountable, and you have to have an explanation for everything that you do. Because imagine that there's this court of law, and you're in front of it all the time, and you have to defend yourself in front of this court of law for every little thought that you have, for everything that's going wrong in your life. We're saying it's not like that, because the more you do that, the more you're bound to stay where you are, because what you look at, what you give your attention to, you practice the frequency of it, and so you get more of it. And when we say we get more of it, you see more manifestation, you see more evidence of it, you see more of an indication of it, physical indication of it, and you look at it, and then you keep looking at it, and you keep focusing on it, you get more, and then you keep looking at it, you keep focusing on it, and it's this vicious cycle. But we're like, it doesn't really have to be like that, because your negative emotion means only one thing: you, those 2 point of attractions, your inner being and you, they departed. The perspective that you're holding about the conclusion that you came to about the absence of money, you departed your source, because your source isn't. That's where you left source. That's where you left source behind. That's where you left your energy behind, the power behind. You left source off, and you were like, you wanted to be sad, you wanted to be gloomy. You were like, oh, I don't have any money, and like this is how it is for me. I haven't had any money in so long. It's so annoying, And so it's that conclusion. So we're like, stop doing that, because so it's like, what do I do when I see something that I don't want? We're like, there's nothing that you can do. That's what we're saying. That's what we say. Like, you are where you are. You cannot do anything about what you see. And we know that sounds really not. That almost doesn't sound like, well, I'm not a creator then if I can't do anything about it. But we're like, your power, because when you're looking at something and you're wondering, why can I change it? There you go. You're concluding it. But you're concluding that it's a bad thing. I'm a bad creator. I'm a bad person. This shouldn't have happened to me. I should have been better. I should have been pre-paved. I'm better at this. And then you come up with all these bogus excuses, and while you do all that, you just leave your inner being, and that's most evidenced by the absence of momentum, absence of source energy, which is the negative emotion. That's why you feel negative emotion, because in all those thoughts, those dwindling thoughts, you just keep leaving your source behind. And we're like, it doesn't matter, because when you sleep, you get back where you get right back into source. So we're saying it's as easy as like being a kid, and kids don't explain why they did it. They just did it and they move on, and they don't ever look back. And we're like, that's the thing. You need to be like that. You need to be that, like, you need to not look back. When we say don't look back, it means that you can't explain why you're there. You're just there. You're like, because here's, and you know what it is? You're a vibrational match to something different, and it doesn't really matter, because you're like, whatever, like, who really cares? That's what we're saying, is like, you take the bounce from reality and then move on. Take the bounce, move on. Realize that you don't have any money, and then keep talking about more money. Don't let anything really get you going. Don't let reality be something that's so like that really punctuates the opposite of self-worth. It's like, damn, like, I shouldn't have done this, like, this is how my life is, I've been doing so much, and we're like, and I haven't been seeing the results. I'm like, well, if you're not seeing results, it's because you keep thinking you're not seeing results. You keep explaining why I don't see results, because I'm not good at this, because I'm not being more clear in my vibration. And we're like, but you know what, it's like, it's important to acknowledge where you are, because when you acknowledge where you are, you can own how you feel. You can own, be like, okay, like, this manifested because I felt like this. But we're like, you really don't need to do that, because naturally, when you take the bounce, when you observe reality, and like, the vortex undergoes, you go on, the whole process happens. You're in that step one, and then, but we're things like, you don't really need that much contrast anymore. Like, you're in this place where you can continue on, you can keep going. But we're like, the only thing that makes you not go is the fact that you keep compounding where you are. And we're like, it's all good. You really don't need to beat up on yourself. You're good. And so that's where we kind of talk about inspired action, because when you stop doing that, when you stop beating up on yourself, when you stop compounding where you are, you're like, okay, I am where I am, and I love it. I love where I am, and I love it, because you realize that you don't really need anything, because we've talked about that a lot lately, which is the difference between needing and wanting. I don't need any reality to change right now, because I can feel however I want to feel. How I feel truly is an inside job, so I can feel however I want to feel. So I'm satisfied right now, and it is the beginning of feelings of satisfaction. It starts to grow, because you're like, yeah, you're right, I can feel however I want to. I can feel however I want to, because that's my power, because I'm happy wherever I am, because I am where I am. I can't be anywhere else, and I'm putting my boat wherever I am. I'm creating a whole new reality from this point in time, and time is irrelevant anyways, because it can all change for me so fast. And satisfaction, it builds into those higher frequencies. And inspired action is something that's really interesting, because you're getting inspired to a lot of ideas when you're on this higher frequency, but it's up to you to know if this desire something that I should act on right now, or is it something that I should just continue to think about and dream about some more. And to be honest, wherever the idea comes from, which is because you're in a receiving mode all the time, right? You know, you can be receiving mode of swords, or the receiving mode of anger, or the receiving mode of fear or depression. You can be receiving impulses from all those receiving modes, and you know, it's all good anyways, because you can always tell how ready you are to take any action. Because if you're someone who's creative, you're getting ideas all the time, but it's like, which idea should I act on? Because that's what it's all about, right? And so if you get an idea and you're not sure if you should take action on it, you should dream about it. You should play it out in your mind. And if it doesn't call you, if you don't feel enthusiastic about it, if you don't feel passionate for it, like, yes, I need to do, if you don't feel compelled to do that, to take the action that you're dreaming about, then that's your sign to that you have to align the energy up more. You have to dream about what you want more. You have to dream about the effort more, not the effort, but you have to dream about the action, the inspired action. You have to pre-pave it, basically, because when you pre-pave it, it's kind of like what procrastination is. When you procrastinate is because it's when you know that you're obviously you're being driven by urgency, but when you play it out in your mind, it doesn't feel like it's something good to do right now. So, but we're like, that's a good thing though, because you're aware of the path of least resistance. And it's not, you know what's interesting, it's not that because here's the thing, we know that you can't get it wrong, so it's right to say that. It's even vibration accurate to say that there's no action that you could take right now that would net you something bad, because you know why that is because you can't get it wrong. So you could take any action, and what we're saying is that before you take any action, it's really worth lining your energy up first, so that when you take the action, you're not having to go where the action would take you and then lining your energy up there, because it's more work to do. But we're like, if you pre-pave it before you go to step into the action, then you're good. And literally what that means is, when you're like, oh, imagine if you're like, oh, I want to go buy a lottery ticket right now, and it's like, well, when I buy a lottery ticket, does it feel like inspiration, or does it feel like something that I have to do? When I play it out, does it calm me? Because you have to be really sensitive to your emotion. You have to own where you are. Does it really calm me, or is it just something that I really think I need to do because it will be a means to the end? What we're saying is that you're the driver of the car. The universal energy is literally your engine. You don't have to use ease and flow on your for all of you. So then it really gets to the point where you're like, okay, if this inspired action thing means that I can take any action and it would be right, but it's really about understanding what action is right for me. So does that really mean that no action I can take is wrong? It's really about, where do I have resistance? We're like, yeah, did you hear that? Because it's just about knowing where you have resistance, and then finding the path of least resistance from there. You know what I mean? Because it's like realistically speaking, right? It's like, you could write a book right now, but the thing about the idea of writing a book, it doesn't feel compelling. It feels kind of scary, because you're like, oh, I don't have all this isn't ready, right? But it doesn't mean that, well, this is really interesting. It doesn't mean that writing a book right now would be a bad thing. It would just mean that when you would write it right now and you played it out in your mind, you just didn't feel like it was the right option to do. So then what's a right option for you to, what's the path of least resistance? Then it's like, oh, like, what would I rather be doing? Maybe you want to listen to music, and you're like, but we're like, it's not that. But you see how, like, when you want to listen to music, it feels compelling, but someone will say, well, yeah, because you're more in your comfort zone. It's easier for you to listen to music. But we're like, no, there's less resistance, because whenever you take the path of least resistance, you're taking the path to more of what you want. You're taking the path to the art of allowing. You're taking the path to the stream. You're using the stream the way that you want to, because now that you took that time to really think about your book and pre-pave it, because, oh, it's not right for me to do right now, but it would just feel fun to do, then you would actually set yourself up to write it, because you can really do anything that you want. But it's just about understanding your proximity to everything. It's just about knowing what's ready to pop, because in every moment there are things that you're ready to do right now. Like maybe you can't write the book right now, but you can dream about it. Like, there are things that you can do right now that are ready to pop right now. And number two is, there are things that you are ready just to dream. And you know what's crazy is that no matter where you are, you can dream about anything. Everything is worth you thinking about. Thinking about everything is really fun. And that really gets us down to, this idea that you're really eternal. You're so eternal, my friends. You're all eternal. You're all eternal. And so we're like, don't even try to get it all done now, because we were talking about writing the book. So let's talk about that as an example. It's like, imagine like you've been really wanting to write a book for like a decade. Like, it's been in your mind for a long time, and you want to write this book, and you're like, it's on your list. You're like, well, I want to manifest it. I want this book, because this book, you have your list of whys. And so we're like, well, here's the thing. So when we talk about you writing this book, it's like, do you feel like you're not ready to write this book because you don't really know what you want out of the book, what you want the book to be like, in terms of like the general scope of things? Like, you want to have good dialogue, you want to have really pretty cover, you want it to be really literaturally, influenced, and you want it to be you just know what your wish list is. Do you want to add things more to your wish list, or are you just ready to have whatever book that you're ready to receive right now? Did you hear that? Because when we say you're eternal, we know that, well, you're going to write this book, and then from that place of having written the first book, you're going to write another book, and another book, and another book. But since you're so used to like comparing yourself to others, and so you're like, oh, it has to be perfect now. This book that I write right now, it has to be the best book that's ever out there. it has to be the best thing that's ever happened to me. It has to be the best thing that, I can do right now. But what's interesting as an eternal creature and a creature who came into this body for this exact reason is that your criteria of excellence is always changing. So what your criteria of excellence would be about this book right now that you're writing right now, it might be different about your second book because you're in a different position. You see what I mean? This criteria is always changing. So are you ready for, it's like, do you want this book to come sooner or later? But we're like, it's both, because you're ready for a book to come now, and then you're ready for a book to come later. It's like just having this big ass appetite, because you realize, hey, I'm eternal. I'm never writing books all the time. So it's not about the perfectness of it. It's just about writing the perfect book from where I am right now. We're making the perfect YouTube video from where I am right now. It's not about making the best thing in the world, but you know what's interesting is because what's best is a match to what's the best to you right now. You know what I mean? It's really interesting because it's just a new thought, and it really is. It's like you want everything to come to you, but what's really stuck in your vibrational craw is that you're trying to get it to be the best thing. Like, you're trying to get it to be the end of be all, but we're like, it doesn't work like that, because it's like, you think that you're gonna have one dream house and that's it, but we're like, you're gonna buy that one house and then you buy another. So it's like, but you don't want the fact that it's not your dream house to be the reason why you're not ready for a house right now. Do you know what I mean? It's not like your dream book. We got it. You have a dream book, but your dream book is not just one book. You want to write many books. You're gonna have many books in your lifetime, because it's because through your scavenger hunt, your exploration of life, you've put many books in your vortex, and many dollars, and many songs, and many paintings, many of everything. It's not just one and done. It's one in eternity. So friends, you're ready for everything. You're expanding, and you're doing everything that you came here for. You're doing so well on all of your journeys. Just catch yourself in that negative emotion. Just continue moving forward. Don't look back. It's easy. It's literally just as simple as being like, damn, all you gotta do is look forward, look at where you're going, and don't look at where you have been, because you are the one who controls everything. You're the creator of your reality. You can literally you can tell what action you can take right now. You can make any action redeemable and ready for you to take. You can whittle writing a book down to be the next path of least resistance, because that's what you really want. When we say path of least resistance, is like the next logical step. It all means the same thing. It's logical. Writing the best-selling book is logical. Publishing that YouTube video that makes sense to you over, the viral limit is just natural, because you've practiced, you've played it out in your mind so much that you're inspired to do everything. Because action that's inspired is truly, there's something that we can't even, there's no metaphor for it. It's like, it literally creates worlds. And so that's you want to depend less on your effort and more on your action, because when you get that impulse and you're like, oh, should I take it? Because now you're smart, like, should I take this impulse? You question it, so you play it out in your mind, and you realize, oh, I'm not really ready to take this impulse right now, because it's not really lighting me up. It's kind of, it doesn't feel right. It just feels kind of icky. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like way too much work. I'm not into that. And it really means that you just have resistance. So it's smart for you to just procrastinate and put it off, and think about what you really want to do, because you realize naturally that if I were to do this right now, I'd be using too much leverage of my physical exertion, too much physical action. I want to use more of my mind. I want to use more universal intelligence, meaning I want the ideas to pop up into my mind. I want to use the leverage more, and I want to use less of my body, less of my action, and more of my expectation, more of my imagination, and more of fun. And that's just who you are. You're literally equipped for the best experience ever. And so, just get ready to live happily ever after now, because the sign of a good creator is the person who's looking to be happy in every second. It's about happily ever after now, wherever you stand, because you are where you are, and where you are is not only perfect, it's just fine.